came out with
present-day reality.
It runs in the family. That's my boy.
Join us now for Edward Mowbray's Punk X.
Oh, nice.
How in the hell did I get here? 43 years old, surrounded by all the things I never wanted. Love, comfort, security. This neighborhood, my neighborhood, represents just about everything I used to despise. It's a long way from crashing on filthy futons and sticking needles in my arms. It's a long way from punk rock. In 1983, I co-directed a documentary called Not Dead Yet about the Toronto punk scene. That's my partner and I there. It was about the music, the fashion, the politics. It was what it was, a peek at a disorganized, headless, emasculated cultural movement on the verge of swallowing itself whole.
How are you feeling, Ed?
You're looking pretty out of it there, Ed.
Even as a tourist in this scene, I vividly remember three of its more brazen lieutenants. Steve, the punk Lothario. Bambi, the renegade diva. And Mike, the abdicate anarchist. Years later, I'm back to see if punk's not dead.
I was there when all the shit went down, so you know, Daddy-o, I got a right to be around and what you can do with your attitude. I remember when you first hit town. Hey man, is there a party going down? Or maybe that's just the way you were from the first day.
I never wanted to be accepted.
Get that fucking thing away from me! We don't work. We play. We go to bed when we want to go to bed. We wake up when we want to wake up. When we're hungry, we go to the mission for breakfast. When the mission's closed, we go out into the market and we eat garbage. Out of the fucking garbage.
If there is a dog, let me light this man on fire. You know, I came from North York when I was young. It wasn't my fault. It was not my fault. I did not choose to live there.
Really, I liked it better when I walked down the street and people were like trying to attack me and were afraid of me and spit at me and called me names. It was better than being accepted. The whole thing has been accepted from top to bottom. You know, what fun is that?
Yeah, it's very strange stuff, this buying a house thing. One key. At one point, I would have scorned you had you said, oh, you're going to have a big house on a hill someplace. And I thought they were crazy. Here we are. I have lived on the streets. I've been homeless for long periods, like years at a time, largely by choice, too. Lived on people's couches and lived under people's couches and stuff. So now I have a place and people can live on my couches. Well, shall I carry you across the threshold?
I'm Mike. I'm the drummer in band Direct Action. The police are, mounting this massive campaign of harassment against everyone. They want to keep people in their places. Unemployment's going up. Economy's getting worse. Things aren't going to get better. So before anything happens, they don't want to see anything start forming and let it get out of hand. They want to smash everything.
Having had the upbringing I had, the value system that was instilled in me, like I knew how to play the game, and I chose not to play the game. I know I can make it on that level. It's not a pleasant level to live on, but I can do it like that. Sort of waiting for something to kind of kick in and say, fuck, man, this is yours. But hasn't yet, so eventually, I think.
not going in there. It's sort of better to be here alone than be in the city, surrounded with people, where it's constantly in your face that you're alone. A constant reminder. I don't like that. I think that's sad. So it's better to be here, and then you can at least do things in private. Like if you're going to cry or whatever, you can always be, people aren't going to stare at you. Or E equals MC squared plus. Talk minus action equals 0. So.
Footsteps in the sand.
You can't wear high heels on the beach, eh?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The me decade. In the shadow of Big Brother, under the crushing weight of Reaganomics, in spite of constant police harassment, we celebrate our collective disillusionment and revel in society's scorn. What else was there? If the 80s was about every man for himself, punk was a signpost. We want no part of your shithole world.
Kat, this is Kat. What do you think about the New Year? Are you going to have a New Year heavy?
We know the rules. Boring. If it's okay, I don't want to come in for supper at 7 tonight if it's okay. Nope, that's not okay, you know, and that's like, well, fuck this, man, I'm moving out. I met a bunch of punks on the street at that point that were all homeless. Some of them were from England.
I'll be home for tea, Mom.
Some of them were really smart.
Government repression and poor social change.
Some of them were really silly.
I think a bomb's gonna go off any fucking minute.
It was just like going into a nursery and seeing a bunch of children, and there's like, it's very colorful. It wasn't like school, right, where everybody had to sit and put up their hand. I mean, the punks were doing everything on their time, and, you know, nobody was telling them what to do.
I think, like, welcome to 1984, and I'm ready for the Third World War, even if it starts in my own backyard.
They had me paying room and board when I was 15. So, you know, by that point, it's already over for me. I'm not going to listen to anybody. Everyone that hung out in the punk scene in the very beginning, they, you know, there was no real common bond except for that we were all just looking for chaos. It wasn't a political story. It was basically just a union of the misfits.
My New Year's resolution is to quit taking in nuclear waste.
It was just like a general opposition to what was going on around us. Didn't like it. Didn't like the whole package stuff. You know, basically the mass consumer culture. We were against that and everything that supported that, and thought, scrap it. Let's start over. Let's do it. Here's our contribution. I think basically I wanted to be like my dad. He was an artist and a drummer and an accountant, so I wanted to be an artist and a drummer and sort of passed on the accountancy. The first rock tune I learned how to play was Jumpin' Jack Flash by the Rolling Stones. And I was sitting in the front room on this drum set and the stereo was pounding it out, and he's showing me, okay, you do this and you do this.
The punk scene is going to get better and better.
Just to do what we can. We had one big family band. I remember when the kids were all right. Somebody's gonna get their head kicked in
on, Slade, let's go. Go get her.
There's no scene in Toronto except for when somebody makes something, so you have to go out and make something for yourself, right?
Exactly. It's just like the party scene in Toronto. If we don't have a party, nobody has a party, because everybody else is afraid to have a party, because they are afraid to have their house trashed. Personally, we trash our house every day, so it doesn't really make much difference to us, because we got nothing to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're not afraid of what they can do to us, because they can't do anything to us, short of kill us, and even, still them. They is them. Them is a generalization of fucking anyone who isn't us.
Right.
Cheers.
Cheers. We are us, they are them. Fuck them. Don't fuck with us.
Right.
I remember walking in the door and, you know, between 5 and 6 and 7 in the morning.
Oh, beer.
Beer!
I'd go in and there'd be bodies lying all over the floor, and I'd walk over them and go to my room. You know, and nobody was ever in my room. That was always safe.
Got blonde hair today, man. Crazy color.
It was cool. It was fun. Lots of fun. Never a dull moment. It was just like a big brotherhood. You know, it was so fun to be around them.
This ain't the hell time. This ain't the hell time. This ain't the mess shot.
It's like a family. You just want to like belong. You want to be loved, and you want to have people to look up to and people you can be proud of and be around that, right?
In high school, my thing was, you know, jeans, ripped out knees, ripped up t-shirts, old trashed out raincoats, sloppy hair, just, you know, I looked like a punk before I knew there was punk rock.
Tell me when anybody comes behind me that's worth shooting.
I remember the first time I had a mohawk. I had some like a foot-high, bright red mohawk. And stepping on a subway train with all these people, and it was just like, fuck, I felt like I was going to be attacked or something just from the way I looked. You get jumped occasionally by jocks or people who thought that you were weird and deserved to be beaten up for some reason or another.
Hey, Tony, your Trans Am's on fire.
Thank you.
Are you from
Society as a whole thought we were strange.
Toronto. That restaurant over there, we used to all be able to go in there, and the waitresses knew us well and served us. And then they changed their dress code, so now we can't get in.
Telling you never to come on these premises again.
If you do, you'll be charged with trespassing. You understand?
Serve and protect.
At the time, Larry's Hideaway and The Turning Point are the only two clubs in Toronto brave enough to showcase punk bands.
Right in.
Armed with attitude and only 6 songs, Steve, Bambi, Brian, and Kirk performed together for the first time as...
We're a bunch of fucking goofs. Who the fuck do you think we are? What?
Actually, we spent the entire show waiting to be attacked by skinheads. But as usual, they never showed up. It was packed. We were horrible.
I would have been viewed as the left-winger in the band.
As the name relates to the guerrilla group that's operating in Canada at the present, there isn't really like any direct link-up or anything, although...
Now I'm 44, I wouldn't say the same things at the top of my lungs that I used to say when I had a mohawk and stuff.
My name's Mike.
When you're standing up and you're wearing your flag and you're saying, we really don't like you guys, we don't like what's going on here, we think your culture sucks, you know, that they're going to say, well, fine, you don't like us. Well, sorry guys, we're a bigger gang than you are. And they're just going to try to put you out of business. I think the higher up impression is no one cares about these people anyway. They're just a pain in our ass. You know, let's fuck with them. Let's get rid of them, shut them up, get them out of here, whatever.
In January 1983, a group of anarchists called the Squamish Five are arrested and later convicted for a series of bombings that include porn shops and military installations. Convinced of their innocence, Mike helped with the Free the Five campaign.
Say if these people theoretically did bomb Lytton, what makes that any worse than bombing Vietnam or something? Like, who are the real terrorists?
As a youth, you may think, oh yeah, it's adventuresome, it's romantic, it sounds great, you know, you're really striking a blow for. And then when you get a bit farther away from the act, it's like you're really not striking a blow for anything. You're acting kind of recklessly, and you're not acting in people's best interest.
Okay, trash the place. All through Jesus around us, all through reckless self-shadows, all through walks of zealous, all these days are bigger than.
It was kind of weird. At the time, I didn't know what was going on. It was just kind of overwhelming. But then there was all this, like, you know, male testosterone or whatever it's called, and adrenaline, and it was, like, really powerful.
Corvette lust, time candy, plastic money, dirty slut, you dirty slut, oh, I see on its side. Not like that, feel like this, be like me, fuck you. This is fuck you, like it's not the stop.
For the gang at the fort, the good times started to sour. They were at war with racist skinheads, and Bambi found herself caught in the middle. And the goofs took no prisoners.
Bye-bye.
My name has 13 letters. I showed a part of myself that was way out there, obviously, you know, and they thought I was nuts, man.
Which is also a swastika. For power.
Carving up my arms or carving upside-down crosses in my chest, you know, in front of the guys at the fort, you know, and wearing pajamas on the street or not bathing for a week or whatever, you know. I guess those could all be part of it. Or walking around with needles hanging on my arms. I was just a kid. I was a runaway. I was a liar. I stole. I was investigating every possible illegal outlet I could. I threw away everything. I threw away my education, my ballet. It was full-time. I was a gymnastics coach. I love these things too. To this day, I miss these things. My conservatory training in music. I threw it all away. Just because I was bored.
Come on, let's have a fucking knee bend.
Okay. Ouch.
They become like your brothers, your family, whatever, you know. And then all of a sudden it's like, they kicked me out or whatever, and it was like, ugh. And I remember feeling panicky at one point. Like, I've lost them, man. I went too far. I hit the street, I went right downtown with a few things. You gotta sleep somewhere, so I slept in a few beds in those few months, and I got pregnant, right? Had my son. I had a boy, and that was in '85. I think I might have been stoned on glue when I conceived him. I wanted to homeschool him. He wasn't happy going to school. He'd run away. He had to cross streets alone. They told me I was being silly worrying about him. He was only 5. My role, you know, as a parent is also to teach my children. I don't feel the need to bring anyone else into it. Oh, you can get back on your feet again. It's like, why don't you just get out of my life, man? You weren't invited.
And what were the repercussions of that kind of...
They cuffed me and they charged me under the Mental Health Act. My animals were gone. I got evicted. They told me I'd get my son back within days, and it never happened.
In 1991, Bambi exiles herself to a small cottage in Wasaga Beach, north of Toronto. It would be 10 years before she would see her son, Jesse.
Nail polish remover, glue, speed, coke, heroin, whatever. I did them all. It got to the point where it's cheaper to do heroin than to smoke pot. So, you know, figure it out. If you're on the street and you've got no money, what happens? You become a junkie, a slave. You know, I got a list of people in my computer that's like, it's at 53 right now. 53 dead friends. And most of them are from drugs. You know, but I don't go to junkies' funerals anymore.
But it was sort of almost a Hemingway-esque relationship to alcohol, where it was just always there. In the past, used to drink pretty much constantly. Like, you know, it'd be get up in the morning, have a beer, maybe a bottle of wine, maybe a few Valiums, get started, smoke a joint, then get out of bed. You know, I've been doing way too much partying and stuff like that, and you know, didn't have anything and wanted to try to get into a better spot. You know, was confused personally, didn't know what I wanted, where I was, who I was. You know, I was starting to get fed up with my voluntary poverty.
And what do you do with all these fundamentalist Christians, right? Like, there are more of them than there are punks, right? They get wiped out.
You know, I've been caught up in all this band stuff for so long, and the punk thing, and, you know, I was just a mess.
Mike wasn't alone. Most of us were messed up. The main culprits, heroin and booze. Drugs and alcohol effectively shut us up, made us stupid, broke us down. And for those lucky enough to survive, we were left to deal with a mess that would take years to clean up. In the spring of 2001, Bambi wanted to become part of her son's life again. Jessie was 5 when she last saw him.
He has this language that I don't understand at all. You know, everything was sick. You know, I told him I was in a band, and it's sick, Mom. I'm like, is that good or bad? We like the same kinds of music and everything. So all his friends were really, like, freaked out to meet me. They were like, you know, you got the coolest mom and everything. When he notices that I'm sad, he puts his arm around me, you know? Or when I'm feeling lonely, he'll touch me. I just want him with me and want to do things with him. But he was supposed to come back here with me. So, we'll see.
I do anything where you'll pay me $10 an hour or more that's legal. I do big band setup, like for, you know, for crappy big bands. Sky Dome, amphitheater, stuff like that. You're what? Let's go real fucking fast, man. See you in a bit. I've got a van, I'm a mover, so the last 3 days of the month I'm Mr. Mover. I dig holes, I do whatever. It just day by day. This is the thousands of pairs of shoes that are gonna pay for this place.
What do you do with them?
Sell them.
Where'd you get them?
They came with the place. The old guy died and didn't take his shoes with him.
My road to what I have now basically started with my wife Eric getting pregnant. At first we thought it was one kid, then we found out it was twins to begin with. So it's 2.
Bagels okay with everybody?
That was the pivotal moment. It changed everything. All of a sudden you have two children who, you know, you help make and who are totally dependent on you for everything. Gave me more direction, more seriousness and things like that. It was like, I have to make sure I can do this. I wouldn't trade it in for anything. You know, it's been the best thing that's ever happened to me. This would be fun. This would be Mike on the roof, eh?
If you fall, try and
Fall far.
jump out.
Jump out. Okay, are you going to go inside and
Yeah, I'll wait to see. If you're going to fall, I'd like to see it.
fall off the roof? Got into this electronics course, electronics engineering technology, and did that for 3 years, and figured, well, about that time I would have been getting out at 38, 39. And I thought, well, yeah, I'll be really lucky if I get a job as a TV repairman or the Maytag guy for Sears or something. Presently, my job involves supporting designers of application-specific integrated circuits and field programmable gate arrays, programmable logic devices, complex programmable logic devices. I make more money than most people make. I'm up there, and it's kind of scary. It feels weird.
Coming from the beach to Toronto, performing was the only social life I had. You know, which is kind of extreme, I guess, but that's all I have. It's a good way to interact. The more good things that you can feel, you know, and you ultimately start feeling a belonging, a sense of belonging or warmth, love. Things are getting better all the time for me. It's good. It's been good.
The biggest problem with this neighborhood is making sure that it doesn't change. Because this is a unique place. This is unique from the rest of Canada. And it could easily just become like everything else. I mean, that store over there could be sold, and all of a sudden, it's a McDonald's. A week and a half later, second cup goes, I want that corner because it's across from McDonald's, and I'll pay anything. You're out of there. From there on in, you know, it's just over. It's gone, and it just becomes like everything else at Don Mills and Finch, or in Mississauga, or in Scarborough. Wherever those fucking horrible places are.
Hi, Katie, I'm along for the ride.
I guess you're getting in the back end.
Yep, no problem.
I've been a loner most of my life. Oh shit, we need somebody to put the What would I do? Get married, have children, get a headache, I don't have time for a wife. I don't have time to tell anybody what I'm doing. I don't have time to think about what somebody else is doing. I'm just totally not interested. You know, most men are only interested in a relationship because they can't move back in with their mother. You know, I don't need my mommy. Once you've got commitments, then, you know, game's over. It's not in your court anymore. You've got other things and people and responsibilities. You know, you've got to try and keep those out of your life. If you don't want to be lonely, get a dog. The dog was the best companionship I ever had in my life. He hung around with me for 15 years, never gave me a hard time, never questioned anything that I did, never ratted me out. You know, that's a relationship. Don't squeeze me, motherfucker. Fuck! That was fucking nuts.
Oh, nice chord.
Oh, how are we doing here? Good.
It runs in the family.
I made my plan to retire from my job at the end of the school year, and then move with my family to Yarmouth, because I have some family there, and my mother and another sister are also going there, and if I don't go, I'll be the only one here in Ontario, and I think I'd like to go where they are.
That's my boy. Oh, nice.
So you want to buy auto insurance?
Died the way she lived, very peacefully with a smile on her face. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember her face.
Wonderful lady. That's the house.
That looks like a cool house.
These are upstairs.
Looks like it's got cubby holes and stairways and landings in it.
Isn't it lovely?
Yeah, really nice. Look at all the cubbies, I was right.
That'll be Jesse's bedroom, I think. Yeah, I think
goes.
that'll be Jesse's. Well, he's coming.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me that.
He's coming. But it's my plan that he'll come. And I would really like him to come. Just to finish high school, and then he can, you know.
I'm going for a smoke.
Right? Yep. Okay, supper, lunch will be ready in a few minutes. I think she's just showing her these pictures today and talking about Jess moving away when they've really only just gotten to know each other again in the last few months, so. Difficult.
That was my family, eh?
He's almost 16, and
that was the home that I should have been able to provide him, right? You know?
Well, you've come this far.
I don't know where I've gone.
And then he'll be...
I've gone nowhere.
He'll be independent.
Dude.
Come on in, Julie.
So how you feel about the news?
Oh, it's nothing new. There's always news, you know. This is just what I've been going through over the last 10 years. She just drops this news all the time on me, you know.
Julie!
Okay, well, she'll eat when she comes in, I guess.
Maybe I don't give a shit anymore, eh? I just shut it out now, eh? I don't even... It's all fucking painful.
Mine!
And it just saddens me that my son would go. That's all. Why did I even bother, you know? Why did I even bother trying to provide a home?
So Julie has a birthday.
Birthdays.
I prefer it at the beach. This isn't home to me. It was never home to me.
So maybe you'll phone later?
I don't know.
You can phone.
Thanks for serving supper, and that was really nice. This is where she grew up, and this was her home, and she's given it up for something that she can afford that I can't. So that's good, you know? Watch my weight. I wish I could do the same. If I had been able to do the same for my kid, maybe they wouldn't have, you know, taken him away. I don't know.
Hey, that's it. Make him run, eh?
Punk is not choreographed, preconceived bullshit.
Don't discriminate against me because I have green hair. Just shut your fucking mouth.
Real punks will really deal with it all the time.
You can't just block the alleyway, like especially at this time of fucking day. There's other people doing shit too, right?
I know the fucking game. I played with every fucking bastard that there is. I've had everybody laugh at me. I've had every cocksucker. Want to fight? Let's go.
You made me drive about 10 blocks. I should just fucking baseball bat you.
Punk rock isn't happy. Punk rock is angry.
Not into it.
Alleyway with broken glass and fucking syringes and used condoms and derelicts and broken windows. That's punk rock. Punk is not contributing to this disaster that we live in. Punk isn't about buying the newest, latest. That's not what it's about. It's about fun, sex, dogs, garbage, responsibility.
changes real quick. For me, it's changed many times in the last 10 years. Like I went from sort of basically nothing to having a little bit, to having a little bit more, and then things got better, and worked hard, went back to school, this and that, and all of a sudden, bang, I got this stuff, and it was all unplanned. No, there wasn't, like I sat down and said, well, I'll start here and I'll end up here. It just sort of happened, and, so it could unhappen, I guess, and, I have to be prepared for that.
Right.
The important thing to me is my family. Wife, kids, that's the important thing.
Music.
If I can hold on to that, that would be great. If I can hold on to the house, that would be gravy. If I can hold on to the drum set, that'd be like, I don't know, extras on the gravy or something. It's gravy I would like to keep. Ultimately, if it all left, I'd be pissed, but it wouldn't be the end of the world.
I'm just hoping that there's a reason, why I went through what I went through. Because nowadays I'm trying to walk through life do-to-do and I can't do it. Obviously I'm smashed into something here that I can't take back. The official Bambi apology. Sorry I was such a bad female guitarist, and I am sorry for being a big problem, and a bad person, and a bad friend. Hope to be forgiven. I was nothing but a goof, a big fucking goof. Sincerely, Bambi. I failed. I failed in the world. But I'll be damned if they'll lock me up in it.
In 1978, punk rock did for me what nothing else had up to that point. It gave me an identity and a family. But if I naively believed we could change the world with punk, it came to a screeching halt when the drugs and alcohol took over. I stumbled out of my heroin haze in the early 90s and landed here. The hamster wheel hasn't managed to grind all that rage out of me. There's still something of punk in me. It's my approach that's changed. I take care of my yard, and hopefully, you'll take care of yours.
I'm gonna stick around and get my thrills. Yeah, I think that you are doing very well. I look at you, I really see a change. I think that you are doing very well. The more things change, the more they stay the same. The more things change, the more they stay the same. I'm gonna have another corporate ass burger, make a lot of jokes about a fucking half butter and screw. Around the sun blue. I'm gonna watch a B movie or a beat in Vietnam. Convince myself that I've done what I can when it's done.
In 2 weeks' time, Rough Cuts returns with the film 49 Degrees, a look at the hippie-inspired, free-spirited surfer culture of Vancouver Island.